Welcome back, focused learners, to The Explainer. Today we are embarking on a fascinating journey through an incredibly dense 2.5-year explosion of AI capabilities. We're looking at a hyper-condensed window from late 2023 through mid-2026. This was the period where artificial intelligence went from basic, text-based chatbots to highly advanced autonomous agents that fundamentally rewired how we work, search, and honestly, how we live. If you want to understand exactly how we got to the cutting edge of today, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right into this. $6 million. Now, in the frontiers tech world, that is practically pocket change, right? But in December 2024, this shockingly low number completely disrupted the entire industry. It was the exact budget it took to train DeepSeek V3. That model shocked everyone and sparked this massive global conversation about what it actually costs to build world-class AI. When we zoom out to the broader industry, the contrast is just staggering. On one side, you have DeepSeek V3. It's lean, it's fully open source under an MIT license, and built on a fraction of the usual budget. Then on the other side, you have the traditional, heavily funded closed-source giants like GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Yet, against all odds, DeepSeek V3 matched them on real-world tasks. It was a massive wake-up call that you didn't need billions of dollars in closed doors to create frontier-level intelligence.
To make sense of this massive, fast-moving timeline, we've structured our explainer today into 4 digestible eras. First, the AI arms race. Second, deep thinking and open source. Third, the era of autonomous agents. And fourth, redefining search and shopping.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI arms race. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer velocity of this race across the major players. Just look at the leaps here. By mid-2026, OpenAI had pushed all the way to GPT 5.5, a model codenamed Spud that acted as a sharper thinker for multi-step workflows. Meanwhile, Anthropic rapidly iterated from Claude 3.5 to the incredibly powerful Opus 4.8. Google jumped from Gemini 1.5 to the frontier-level Gemini 3.5 Flash, and Meta continuously pushed the open-source boundary from Llama 3.3 straight through to Llama 5. This speed of versioning here is literally unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of software development. Moving right along to Section 2, deep thinking and open source. This is the phase where models stopped just blurting out the first word that came to mind and started actually, thinking. Notice a pattern developing over these 18 months? In July 2024, Llama 3.1 became the first open-source model to go toe-to-toe with GPT-4 and Claude on real tasks. Then, in January 2025, DeepSeek R1 released a fully free-to-use reasoning model that matched OpenAI's Out1 on really difficult problem-solving. By December 2025, DeepSeek dropped v3.2 with both an API and open weights. So within just a year and a half, open-source developers systematically eroded the moat that the heavily funded, closed-system tech giants thought they had secured for good. Just consider this massive scale for a second. 600 billion parameters. That belonged to Meta's Llama 5, released in April 2026. It really highlights how open-source scale reached unimaginable new heights. We weren't just getting small, efficient models for local machines anymore. Open source was now offering absolute behemoths, capable of tackling the most complex, multi-step problems that previously required constant human handholding. Which brings us to Section 3, the era of autonomous agents. This explosion in reasoning power led to the most crucial turning point in our timeline. Let's clearly define what this actually means so we grasp the incredible leap that took place. Agent refers to models capable of orchestrating subtasks, controlling software directly, and executing complex workflows autonomously over long periods of time, with minimal human oversight. This is exactly what separates a 2024 chatbot that helps you draft a quick email from a 2026 autonomous workflow that basically builds your entire website while you sleep. To really grasp the reality of this shift, consider that early 2024 models required constant manual prompting. You had to hold their hand, check in, guide every single step. Contrast that with Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6, released in February 2026. This model was built for grueling, long-term projects and could work autonomously for over 14 hours straight in a single session, effortlessly topping finance industry benchmarks along the way. So the crucial point is exactly how a flagship model manages these massive workloads. By May 2026, with Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.8, you could literally set an effort control dial to tell the AI how deeply to engage. Then it launches dynamic workflows inside Claude Code, orchestrates hundreds of parallel subagents all at once, and seamlessly executes massive projects, like a full code-base migration. It's effectively acting as a highly competent project manager and an entire team of developers all rolled into one. And to execute that kind of autonomous, complex work, you need incredible memory. Try a staggering 10 million token context window. This wild capability comes from Meta's Llama 4 Scout, released in April 2026. This massive context window allows the AI to hold the equivalent of 7,500 pages of text in its active memory at once. It processes text, images, and video across 200 languages, and remarkably, it can run on consumer hardware. You literally feed it a whole library of information and it keeps every single detail perfectly top of mind.
All right, let's wrap things up with Section 4, redefining search and shopping.
So what happens when all of this back-end, agentic power reaches the front-end consumer apps? Let's track the rapid 2-year phase-out of traditional Googling. In May 2024, Google replaced SGE with AI overviews, putting those AI summaries right at the top of the page. Exactly 1 year later, in May 2025, they launched AI Mode, a fully conversational search experience built on Gemini 2.5, where you get detailed, cited answers and can easily ask follow-up questions. By May 2026, Google executed its biggest search box redesign in 25 years. The box dynamically expanded, accepting text, images, files, videos, and even Chrome tabs as input. Search fully morphed into a continuous, multimodal conversation.
And it wasn't just information gathering, right? It completely changed how we buy things. By early 2026, AI had evolved into an agentic, real-world shopping assistant. Google's AI Mode could check if a specific product was in stock at a nearby physical store in real time, or track hotel prices directly inside that conversational interface. Meanwhile, OpenAI completely revamped the ChatGPT shopping experience. Instead of just pulling images and basic star ratings, ChatGPT began creating product comparison tables, evaluating items head-to-head on specific attributes, and definitively picking overall winners based on value and price. The AI literally did the exhausting consumer research for you.
Now, as these models grew smarter, they didn't just stay generalists. This specialized intelligence fractured into highly specific, industry-grade agents. OpenAI launched a free HIPAA-compliant ChatGPT strictly for verified U.S. clinicians to handle medical research and documentation. Anthropic released Claude Design to help users build polished prototypes and mockups using existing design systems. OpenAI created GPT 5.4 Cyber, which was restricted to approved users for sensitive vulnerability research. And Google introduced Gemini Omni Flash, an AI that takes any combo of text, image, and audio to generate and edit video output through an ongoing conversation.
Which brings us to a final, pretty profound question to wrap up our explainer today. By April 2026, Meta released Llama 5, a model featuring recursive self-improvement capabilities. This allowed it to refine its own reasoning and generate its own synthetic training data. So I leave you with this to ponder. If these models are already agents acting on our behalf, what happens when these autonomous models begin compounding their own intelligence entirely independent of human input? The explosive 2.5 years we just explored? Yeah, that might have just been the warm-up act. Thanks for diving in, Focus Learners. Keep exploring and keep learning.